God bless the camera, because without it, so many stories would be unbelievable. But because it exists, we're able to capture things on film and prove that they happened. These are moments you wouldn't believe if they weren't recorded. Number 20. The Changing Room. In the realm of pranks, this one might just take the cake. It was imagined and designed by Jono Pryor and Ben Boyce, who are the hosts of Jono and Ben at 10, an entertainment show from New Zealand. In this particular prank, they basically take over a men's clothing store and wait for their victims to walk right into the store. When they choose whatever they want to try on in the changing rooms, an entire team of people appears out of thin air to build a girl's locker room right outside the door of the changing room that they're in, and they wait for their reaction. They actually didn't know that a camera was watching them. Imagine one day trying on some shirts, opening the door back to the store, and finding yourself in the middle of a girl's locker room full of girls with nothing more than a towel on, all screaming at you and calling you a perv. Then, 2 seconds later, when you try and open that same door again, the same store you walked into, empty and totally normal. I would think I was going crazy. Their faces of utter confusion. So funny. Like this video, smash the subscribe button and click the notification bell right now, or this centipede will crawl on your face when you're sleeping. Now, it's time for the odd topic. This rather haunting footage shows a mass burial taking place amidst the height of the COVID-19 pandemic in New York City. Those involved had no idea they were being filmed, which gives the whole thing a decidedly somber air. It's truly haunting to see the mass burial of so many people be treated as nothing but work, slotting bodies into place like a game of Tetris. But that is exactly what had happened. A truly chilling example of what we've all been going through together. As always, comment down below with the hashtag #OddTopic and let us know your opinion in relation to what we just showed on screen. With that said, let's keep things moving. Number 19. Weather gone viral. Boy tossed into the air by Dust Devil. The 22nd of April 2016, a terrifying event occurred in China. A dust devil whirlwind formed right in the middle of a school event. The kids were horrified as they screamed for help. In the midst of the terror, the twisters ripped through the entire place, throwing objects into the air with great power and violence. Some of the teachers were quite quick on their feet, and they managed to gather the short and thin children all together and told them to lie flat on the ground so the twister would have less of a chance of picking them up. But for one little boy, this wasn't enough. The aggressive whirlwind swept him off his feet and propelled him 15 to 20 feet in the air. According to Tong Royang, a policeman at the Guangzhou Public Security Bureau, he rushed to the scene to try to catch the boy, but in just 2 or 3 seconds, the young student had fallen to the ground again. He was taken to the hospital, and he fortunately only suffered some minor head injuries. The dust devils were estimated to be over 130 feet high. After the first one struck, the evacuation of the students started instantly, but shortly after, the second devil formed. Number 18. Old school trick shots. Do you think really old people can be amazing at basketball? What about a group of young guys disguised as very old people? That's what Dude Perfect did in a video that is one for the ages. People had been wondering if the massively popular YouTubers would still be making trick shot videos once they became middle-aged. So in response, they decided to bring in a group of highly trained makeup artists to make them look like grandpas. And it's uncanny, they all look at least 80 years old. The video was sponsored by Kyrie Irving's Uncle Drew movie, and it's quite interesting and funny to see a quintet of octogenarians doing amazing old-school basketball tricks. As a result, we have a gray-bearded and heavily wrinkled Tyler Toney, who actually looks like a very old Tom Cruise, the most interesting man in the world, the guy from the Dos Equis commercials. We also have Moses, Noah, and let's not forget about Santa Claus. They all perform a no-look reverse layup, and of course, a high-flying dunk off a trampoline. So, what do you think? Would you watch a YouTube channel that showcased only the elderly doing tricks? Number 17. Super Granny breaks up jewelry heist with handbag. On the subject of elderly badasses, meet Ann Timpson. This 75-year-old grandmother takes the cake. She has been dubbed Super Granny, and she deserves all the attention she's getting. On February 7th, 2011, in Northampton, England, 6 robbers were trying to commit a heist in a jewelry store. They had their faces covered and scooters, but as they were trying to break the glass to get to the goods, you can see an elderly woman rush into the scene, armed only with her black purse. She's wearing a red coat, almost like Superman's cape, and she does not hesitate for a second. As the shop's manager's trying to close the metal gate, Super Granny catches up with the robbers and starts giving them an amazing beatdown. That's when the delinquents start to get scared, and most of them manage to jump onto their scooters and flee the scene. But at this point, the entire street is aware of the situation, and everyone is chasing them down. They knock them off the scooters and simply hold them down until the police can get there. You gotta give it to Anne. She is one brave and badass lady. Number 16. Baseball commentator makes a spectacular catch. Jeff Haxton had his 15 minutes of fame after he managed to pull off a spectacular catch during Texas Tech's game against West Virginia. One of the players hit the ball incredibly hard, and it was going straight into the commentator's booth. Without breaking a sweat or even breaking his flow, Haxton simply said, "And it's coming right back at us," in a very casual way, just before he simply put his hand out and caught the baseball.
Right back at us?
Yeah!
To do a single-handed catch like that is hard enough, but without being prepared and in such a nonchalant manner, I mean, his other hand's still inside his pocket. The most impressive part, though, is that he did it bare-handed. That must have hurt a lot. He even says so himself. He proudly shows the ball to the stadium while everyone's cheering for him. The play-by-play announcer stated with a smile on his face that his hand hurt so bad. As it would. I mean, there's a reason professional baseball players use very thick leather gloves. But if you ask me, Haxton could easily consider a career on the other side of the booth. He's got what it takes. Number 15. Highway motorcycle stunt. Have you heard the saying that goes beauty and brains? Well, this young woman is much more than that. She might just be one of the best stunt motorcycle riders out there. Talk about fearlessness. With only a short pair of shorts and short sleeve t-shirt, she performs heart-stopping tricks on her motorcycle. The control she has is nothing short of outstanding. She just casually and nonchalantly jumps on the back of her machine and makes it drive down the highway on its back wheel. You're left wondering how on earth she's managing to keep that bike upright while she literally dances on top of it like she's having breakfast. She even manages to drag the rear end of her bike on the ground, making sparks fly all over the place. That's when you think, okay, she's gonna fall over and she's not wearing any kind of protection. But no, she just keeps maneuvering and goes to do the exact same thing several times over. In the world of motorsports or motorcycle riding, it's clear that the majority of people are men. But this girl's really showing all the boys how it's done on 2 wheels. And, well, also on 1. Number 14. Old lady hits car with her bag. Meet Super Granny 2.0. In this video, you can see how an elderly woman stood her ground in the face of an unbearable rich guy. The video starts with some teenage boys having fun while they film themselves doing skateboard tricks. They're trying stunts in what looks like a pathway in a public park, but suddenly their attention shifts and even the boy that was holding the camera points it towards a zebra crossing. There, you can see a very expensive sports car that's trying to rush a very old lady that's crossing the street. The driver is honking the klaxon vigorously and making very loud rumbling noises with the motor. He clearly wants to startle the old lady without any kind of regret towards her. Last time I checked, we need to respect our elders and not scare them out of the way with our shiny, expensive cars. But little did he know that the old lady in front of him is more gangster than he'll ever be. Without even looking at him, she hits the car with her purse so hard the airbag deploys. You can see the look of shame and frustration on the rich guy's face as he opens his car door. Priceless. Number 13. Bear sits next to guy. Are you scared of bears? If you're not, you probably should be. They're very cute, sure, but they're also insanely massive and powerful and fast. Their claws are the stuff of nightmares as it is. But apparently, there are people out there that not only don't find bears frightening, they actually go out of their way to find them in the wild. Like this man, for example. He went to the annual gathering of brown bears that occurs in Alaska's McNeil River State Game Sanctuary. It's important to note that this gathering is the largest on the entire planet as well. So you won't find just one or two gigantic bears there, but a whole bunch of them. He had a little setup there with his camping gear and chairs. He wanted to take some pictures of the creatures. During this gathering, the access to the park is limited for obvious reasons. He was one of the lucky ones that was allowed in. And as he's sitting there enjoying the view, a massive brown bear simply approaches and sits right next to him. It almost looks like something out of a cartoon. The bear, without even looking at him, just sits next to him and watches the other bears down in the river. Incredible. Number 12. Flyboard World Champion. Meet Gemma Weston, the newly crowned Flyboard World Champion. She just makes it look so easy, but in reality, of course, it isn't. She's originally from New Zealand, where her brother actually owns Flyboard Queenstown. That's how her amazing journey in the sport started, when he asked her to take his place as an instructor because he was contracted to perform a stunt somewhere else. She accepted the opportunity and started training right away. And then she fell completely in love with the sport. Fast forward a little bit, and she has now won the ex-Dubai Flyboard World Cup Ladies Division held in Dubai as the best on the whole planet. She can do several consecutive tumbles in the air, and she spins just like a bird flies. It is clear she has a blast every time she hops onto that board. She looks like a superhero up there, spinning and tumbling. But this isn't the only sport that Gemma excels at. She also practices martial arts, scuba diving, snowboarding, paragliding, and mountain biking. She is a stunt performer as well. She's been in Legend of the Seeker, Vikings, Yogi Bear, Neverland, The Hobbit trilogy, and Pete's Dragon. She's certainly a woman of many talents. Number 11. Johnny Brownlee and his brother Alistair. If you were looking for the definition of elegant sportsmanship, look no further. Alistair Brownlee has depicted it himself to perfection. The event occurred at the Triathlons World Series in Mexico in 2016. Alistair is the oldest of two brothers, and he saw himself facing a very difficult situation. Johnny was leading the race ahead of his brother, but when he was just 1.5 kilometers away from the finish line, everything seemed to go terribly wrong. He seemed to be suffering the severe effects of heat exhaustion. He began to lose control of his legs, and he lost all sense of direction. At one point, he even stops, completely incapable of continuing to run. But then, his brother Alistair catches up to him, and what he does next will blow your mind. He actually grabs his brother's arm and puts it on his own shoulders. He literally carries his brother to the finish line. Now that's brotherly love right there. This is a shining example of sportsmanship and fraternity. Earlier that same year, they both crossed the line together in triumph at the triathlon competition in the Rio de Janeiro Olympic Games, so this time, Alistair refused to cross that line without his brother. Number 10. NYC Pigeons. So, we all know that people can commit assassinations, but have you ever heard of a bird committing one? Well, apparently, in New York City, they do. And if you don't believe me, take a look at this video taken at a subway station. In this footage, you can clearly see a pair of pigeons mercilessly tossing a third bird right into the path of a moving train. I mean, these pigeons are committing a crime, Italian mafia style. The scene of the crime was the platform at the 4th Avenue and 9th Street station in Brooklyn, and it all started about 5 feet from the tracks. The two criminal pigeons were seen surrounding their helpless counterpart, steering the unfortunate critter towards the tracks. They look very professional and determined, just like two mafia assassins. They managed to edge their victim closer and closer as the train enters the station. The second the poor bird falls mercilessly onto the tracks and the train arrives, the two bullies flee the scene in a rush. Pun intended. This goes to show that not even pigeons are safe from subway shoves. I wonder what he did to deserve such cruel treatment. Maybe he was late on his payoff to the big boss, so he sent in his goons to finish off the job. Number 9. World's largest skateboard disaster. Honey, did I shrink the kids? Nope. This is the world's largest skateboard. At the cost of over $15,000, this board was designed by American professional skateboarder and actor Robert Stanley "Rob" Dyrdek. With his buddy and CEO of California Skate Parks, Joe Ciaglia, he decided to have some fun and build this gigantic skateboard. At a staggering 36 feet 7 inches in length, 3 feet 7.5 inches tall, and 8 feet 8 inches wide, it entered the Guinness Book of World Records as the world's largest skateboard. How cool is that? It normally takes at least 10 to 12 people to have the right amount of weight to balance this beast around, but Joe decided to have a go himself. As he casually headed down Woodward Park on a solo ride, he looked in perfect control. Stepping back and forth, look at that beauty go. But then, as speed picked up and panic stepped in, he had to bail out. The monster board headed straight towards a 15-foot BMX jump, crashing heavily into it. But good effort, Joe. What fun. It looks so cool and unreal with everyone on it, like a parade bus. Do you think monster boards will take off? Who knows, but they sure look like a fun activity to do with fellow skaters. Number 8. Crowd cheers young girl as she wins Pana battle against older boy. Do you know what a Pana battle is? No? Well, let us tell you. It's when two opponents try to knock a football through the other opponent's legs, also known as nutmegging. Sounds easy, right? Oh, no. In fact, it takes a lot of deft skill. Professional football players use this game in training to quicken up their reactions. But this 11-year-old girl is no professional. Well, not yet anyway. When she and her coach decided to set up 2 mini goals in a random street, the unknowing crowd did not yet know how good she is. They started inviting random people to participate to try and beat her. Of course, guys take any chance to show off their football skills, especially when they think it'll be easy going against a young girl. Girls can't play football, right? Wrong. A guy took up the challenge and thinks he's doing well, but all of a sudden, the girl wins the ball off him, dinks left and right, and neatly kicks the ball through his legs into the goal. The crowd goes wild and erupts with applause and laughter. The boy sent packing back to his friends in embarrassment. What a brilliant bit of skill even Messi or Ronaldo would be proud of. Never underestimate your adversary, no matter what their age or agenda is. Number 7. Saving goal with backflip. Here's a tricky one for you. Do you think this is real or has it been edited? We have our doubts. It looks like it's been CGI edited for an advertisement for Sky. In any case, it is one hell of a save and some impressive acrobatics. Imagine if every goalkeeper had to do that to save penalties. That would make the penalty shootout even more of a spectacle. Have you ever seen this actually happen in a game? Well, in fact, back in September 1995, during a meaningless and friendly match between England and Colombia, the goalkeeper stunned the world in awe. Colombian goalkeeper René Higuita cleared an oncoming ball with what is now known as the Scorpion Kick save. Amazing stuff. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and check it out. We're pretty sure this video's taken inspiration from René and tried to reenact it for entertainment purposes. I mean, who would actually try and do that in a live match? If you pulled it off, you would be a hero, but if you missed it, you'd be fired. In fact, even if you did pull it off, some people would still criticize you for taking risks. You just can't win. Sometimes heroics never pay off, so best just sticking to the boring save to the left or right, just to be sure. Number 6. Stefan Kraft 253.3 meter Vikersund. Alpine ski jumping never ceases to amaze. It looks scary as hell as they go hurtling down the sky-high ramp and launching themselves into thin air. They then have to turn themselves into bird-like humans and form a V to soar as far as possible against their fellow competitors. If you crash, it's gonna hurt. Rarely do you come off with just a scratch. These brave humans really need to ask themselves what they're doing, all in the name of sport. Well, in March of 2017, there must have been some in the air helping them. In the space of hours, 2 world records were broken. Norwegian Robert Johansen broke his fellow Norwegian Anders van Amel's 2-year-old record of 251.5 meters. But that was not enough to win it for him that day. Out came 23-year-old fellow Norwegian Stefan Kraft, who soared to an incredible 253.5 meters to take the victory and set yet another world record. At nearly 100 kilometers per hour in flying speed, he's risking running out of landing landing space. He also very nearly sits back and crashes, but uses incredible strength to pull himself upright again. What an incredible human feat. The commentators are going wild at what they've just seen. Quite rightly so. What do Norwegians eat to fly so far? Bird food? Number 5. World's fastest punch. Did you know that we measure the speed of punches? Well, technically, we're not sure if they do, but check out this video. Cynthia Condranaya should be in The Matrix with Keanu Reeves' Neo. We've had to watch this several times to actually believe it. To start with, she warms up with a flurry of punches that's impossible for the naked eye to keep track of. Your eyes are darting around trying to follow her fists like you try to follow a magician's hands. Then she shows off her real talent, the speed of her punch. It is so fast, the only way you could truly see it is if she puts her hand in flour first. She covers her fist in flour and then takes to punching the poor guy in front of her. We see a blur and bang! All of a sudden, a puff of flour lands on his chest. It's like we didn't see anything. She has a superpower. Amazing. Not only can she punch fast, she can also kick very fast. Her next trick is to kick her opponent. If you freeze this video frame, her leg becomes transparent. That means her movement is 1/60th of a second. That is damn fast. Forget Jean-Claude Van Damme. We love Cynthia. Number 4. Walking in the wind. People blown over in streets as Storm Ivar hits Norway. Ever had that feeling in strong wind that you thought you were gonna get blown over? Well, that's nothing compared to what these Norwegians experienced while they were out doing their Christmas shopping. In December 2013, the storm Ivar hit Norway hard. Here, we can see just how strong the wind was blowing in downtown Ålesund. In some comical moments, we see people hanging on to any fixed object that was within their reach. Others just laughed to themselves and amongst friends. Like a huge wind tunnel, one poor person was even blown off his feet. Police and ambulances were deployed to help out in case of any serious injury. It appears that some people were just walking in space as the wind was so strong they couldn't move forward. Some poor old man had to be helped by police to get out of the wind as it was too strong for him. Bless him as he laughs with the police. Funny, but still terrifying. Thankfully, no one got seriously hurt in the storm, but it did leave tens of thousands without electricity for a while. I wonder if Santa made it out on his sleigh that Christmas. Number 3. LADCHC. Dodgers win challenge on fans catch. Super Dad Keith Hartley had his 5 minutes of fame when, while holding his baby in one arm, he reached out and caught a baseball in the other hand. We're not sure what's more unusual here, the fact that Dad Keith was cradling a baby who was sucking on his bottle whilst his dad makes an incredible catch, or the fact that it meant that the LA Dodgers then made a bizarre challenge to get Cubs pitcher Jason Hamill out. Hamill cracks the ball flying high and looks to be heading out. Keith sees it coming, calmly stands up with the baby in one arm, and casually reaches over to snatch the ball from Cubs first baseman Adrian Gonzalez's glove. Surely Gonzalez would have caught it himself and therefore had an out. Or was the ball already out of play? Inevitably, this went to a video challenge, and after much deliberation, the decision went the Dodgers' way and Hamill was given the out. The crowd didn't know whether to boo or applaud. Keith was still sat there happy with baby in hand, wife laughing, and receiving high fives from fellow spectators. One thing's for sure, Keith, you sure looked very calm with your baby in hand and with the world watching you. What a bizarre moment in sports. Number 2. Chris Barnes, the Flying Eagle 1-2. You've all seen The Big Lebowski or Kingpin, right? Those crazy bowling films with wacky characters who come to life when in the bowling alley. Well, it also exists in real life. In the 10-pin bowling world, there are a multitude of superstars competing against each other. One of those stars is Chris Barnes from Topeka, Kansas. Born in 1970 and starting his career aged 28 in 1998, he quickly moved up through the professional bowling ranks. Having played for Team US for 4 years, he was quite the star. One of his many talents was the Flying Eagle. You know what that is? Well, the Flying Eagle's a variation of the hardest spare pickup in bowling, the 7-10 split. This shot requires 2 lanes. The 7 pin is set up in the lane that the bowler throws the ball down, while the 10 pin is set up in the lane to the right. What incredible skill, and we can see Chris performing it with near perfect spinning precision, having made the flying eagle more times than anyone else. Chris is one of the top trick shot bowlers on the tour today. He's even able to score with his opposite hand, a born bowling talent that has made him millions along the way. Number 1. Chinese man trains goldfish to play football. Once you've seen this video, you will not be able to unsee it. Some people really did have too much time on their hands during the horrible COVID lockdown. But hey, this is cute, so what's it all about? Yang Tianxin from Jieyang in Guangdong Province, China is not only mad about football, but mad about goldfish. He owns hundreds of cute Ranchu goldfish, so he had the bright and bizarre idea to turn his aquarium into a football pitch. He believes that once they are familiar with you, then the goldfish will push anything they want. He then rewarded them with food to keep encouraging them. It was quite a tedious task, but finally, 5 fish managed to score after 3 months of training. What a breakthrough! Finally, they could dribble the ball, pass it, and they can shoot at goal. Wow, we're sure Messi and Ronaldo are scared. Some doubted it as if the ball was controlled by a magnet, but if you watch the ball closely, its movement does not resemble a magnet. There are always doubters. Don't worry if you missed it, he holds regular live streams on social media with up to 100,000 followers. He's planning on dividing them up into 2 teams to hold a football match in the future. Some people will really watch anything. I'm one of them, give me a link. As you can see, you have to see it to believe it. An image truly is worth more than 1,000 words. What about you? Have you ever filmed something that people have a hard time believing actually happened? Tell us about it. Also, check out our other cool stuff showing up on screen right now. See you next time.